In the last video, we talked about how you can work with the slice tool, and I mentioned that there's better ways now to work inside of Photoshop. Well, if you have something like a mockup, how do you get the individual assets exported out of this one document into their own files? Well, there's a command inside of Photoshop. It's located underneath the File menu. You'll notice we have a command called Generate, and then we can choose Image Assets. But how does it work? Well, it works based upon your naming conventions within your Layers panel. Let's focus on this main section for right now. If I expand the main layer group, you can see that we have a couple stars, and we also have this main banner. Well, when we go to create the HTML and CSS, we really only need one of these stars. So what I'm going to do is come over here and name this star.png. By giving it a three-letter extension like PNG, GIF, or JPEG, Photoshop has the ability to automatically generate this file. And you can name this whatever you want. You have 255 characters to name this file. So this will produce a PNG called star, which will be this star. We also have to generate an image based upon this main banner. So what I'm going to do is come over here and name this main.jpg. What you can also do here is specify a quality setting. If I want this to be the highest quality, I can type in 10 for 100%. You could also type in something like 7 for 70%. I'll go ahead and press Enter or Return. Let's go ahead and collapse out of the main layer group and expand the team layer group. If we scroll down, there's nothing in About Us, but certainly we have 3 images here inside the team section. If we scroll down, you'll notice that we're using clipping groups to create these images. So what I'm going to do is create a layer group, a new layer group, just above Bio 1. Then I'm going to select the Bio 1 layer and the Ellipse 1 layer. I'm going to click and drag it into this layer group. Nothing changes, but now I can come over and give this group a name. I'm going to call it bio1.jpg. And again, I can specify a quality setting. I'll go ahead and type in 9. I'm going to go ahead and repeat that process for Bio 2. I'm going to select both of these layers, place it inside this layer group, and call it bio2.jpg. And if you want to experiment with different quality settings, I can go ahead and type in 5 here. I'll collapse this. And again, I'm going to create one more layer group. I'm going to call it bio3.jpg, and I'll type in 2 for the quality setting. And then I'll select both of these layers and drop them into this layer group. If we scroll down, we can see we have this map. So let's go ahead and generate an image for that by expanding the map layer group and naming this layer map.png. So now that we have these layers named properly, we're ready to generate the assets. Now, it's important to note that I've copied this PSD file out of the exercise files folder and I placed it on the desktop. The reason why that's important is because the folder that's going to contain all of our assets will be placed within the same directory as the PSD file. If you haven't saved your PSD file, that directory will be placed on the desktop. But because this PSD file is on the desktop, it will create a directory on the desktop so we can quickly and easily verify all the assets that get generated. So we can come up to the File menu, and from the File menu, we can choose Generate, then we can choose Image Assets. It doesn't really look like anything happens, but if we minimize or hide Photoshop, you'll notice we now have a directory on the desktop, and we have all these different image assets. So what a huge time saver. Now, if you want, you can compare these different qualities. Looking at it right here, I can see that Bio 3 is only 1.43K, but it doesn't look that great. Bio 1, however, is 6.27K, but it looks a lot better. So what we're going to do is return to Photoshop. Inside Photoshop, I'm going to come back to the Team section, and I'm going to update that quality setting. I'm going to go ahead and change these back to 9, or at least these 2 bio layers, so their assets are of the same quality. You don't need to double-click to get that. You need to double-click to change the name. But all these images now will be of the same quality. The other thing that you may want to do is create a high DPI version of your image, which is really easy if you have a vector layer. In this case, we don't, but we'll take a look at how Photoshop does scaling up an asset. So what we're going to do is come over to the map layer group and expand it. Right now it's set to PNG. Let's go ahead and create a Retina version. To create a Retina version, all you have to do is add a comma, type in the percentage, which will be 200%, and then I'm going to go ahead and call this map at 2x.png. I'm going to go ahead and press enter or return. Now, if we hide or minimize Photoshop and return back to the generator assets folder, we can see that this bio file has been updated. The file size is much larger. And now we have a Retina version of this map file. You'll notice that the dimensions are 2880 by 1200, whereas the standard resolution map is 1440 by 600. If you want to see what they look like, go ahead and open them. I'm going to go ahead and open this in Photoshop. Then I'll minimize this and open this in Photoshop. They're side by side. This one's at 50% right now. We'll double click the zoom tool. Now it's at 100%. Here, we'll double click the zoom tool and it's at 100%. It's a little fuzzy, but not too bad, but now it's a Retina version of this image. So this image asset generator is a huge time saver when you're creating mock-ups inside of Photoshop. It's the quickest and easiest way to export your image assets.